At this time, I ask that we all stand as we go into prayer. Yahweh, we told you for bringing us out for another Shabbat day. We told you for bringing us through another week. Yahweh, continue to look over all of your children in Yisrael. Look over all that may be sick this very hour, those that may be in hospitals, those that may be down at this very hour. Continue to look over them and heal their very vessels. Continue over each and every one of us and shield us from all manners of illnesses and sicknesses during this winter season. Continue to look over those that are out in the streets that don't have a home. Continue to provide for them and continue to supply their needs. Continue to have it on Yisrael to look at all the things that you have given us and always be thankful for those things. No matter how minute it may be, always be just joyful that you are there for us every step of the way. Yahweh, continue to look over us in these last days and provide us with the things that we need. Continue to look us over us and see us down this straight and narrow path. Have it so that we are not afraid. Have it so that we are not looking to the world, but we're looking for that goal ahead and receiving salvation. Always looking towards the kingdom to come and not always looking towards this worldly system. Yahweh, continue to look over this earth and bring down all the wicked, the evil men in this earth. Bring down all their governments, everything that they rely on. And Yahweh, we look forward to a day when your government is established in this earth. And Shalom will take over and everyone will see what life truly is. So have it so that we have it in our minds that we want to do your will. We want to make it to see your face and peace and want to see better days. And Yahweh, have it so that we stand tall each and every day of our lives and endure to the very end and hold on to our integrity, just like Job. And have it so that when we see your face, we'll be in peace. When we see your face, it'll be welcome arms, welcoming us into your kingdom to come. In Yahshua HaMashiach's name, we pray. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. House of Israel, you may be seated. I say Shabbat Shalom once again, House of Israel. It's truly another Baruch day that Yahweh has set before us. Once again, we told the Yahweh for another day to be able to do his will, right, Yisrael? Nothing greater, nothing better than to be able to serve Almighty Yahweh. And if everyone could see that, it'd be the world would be a much better place to see that it ain't nothing else that we need to do or have to do ahead of Almighty Yahweh, because we always want to put Yahweh first, right, Israel? So this message this evening, I want to go into where does your loyalty lie? Because in these last days, we have to, Yahweh is looking at us and we have to make a decision. We have to show Yahweh that we are for him. He said he don't like hot or cold. We have to be real with him. So if we with Almighty Yahweh, we have to be wholehearted with him. We can't be half with him. We can't do it when we want to do it. Now is the time to show Yahweh that we are serious about keeping this way of life. So Yahweh is going to look over all of us and even test us all to see where our loyalty lies. He, just like Job, wasn't Job tested to see if he was going to hold on to his integrity, to see if he was going to continue to follow Almighty Yahweh, even though he was going through trials and tribulations. And he was going through some tremendous trials, but he never backed down. He always stood for Almighty Yahweh, because when you do that, that shows Yahweh you truly know who he is. You truly want salvation. And we all going to be tested, Israel. Just don't walk this way of life and think, oh, it's going to just be peaches and creams. I'm going to just get through it without nothing going on. No, we all going to be tested, because Yahweh want to see who is real. Everybody can talk a good game, but actually walking it, actually doing what he says, that's what Yahweh is looking for. That's who Yahweh wants, and is going to be in his kingdom to come. Obedience, to do his will. Like earlier, is nothing better to do than Yahweh's will. Because Yahweh's will, doing his will, guess what? You're going to make it. You're going to make it to his kingdom to come. You're going to make it to see salvation. And what greater is it to gain salvation? That aren't we all walking this way of life to gain that? If we walking this way of life and we not striving to gain that, what are we walking this way of life for then? What are we doing this for? But to get into the kingdom to come. And if we're not doing that, and we just doing it for other purposes, and we just playing, guess what? You just wasting time. Because guess what? Time moving, and it's moving fast right now. And time, guess what? Eventually it's going to run out. And when that time runs out, then you want to straighten up? No, it's too late then. We had to get it done right now before the time runs out. Yahweh gives each and every one of us enough time to get this right. So we can't go to Yahweh and say, I ain't have enough time, Yahweh. You didn't give me enough time. Yes, he did. And we can't, and with Yahweh, like, you know how we do when we don't agree with something and we think somebody's saying something that is not right. You know how we going to go back and forth with the person. But are you going to do that before Almighty Yahweh? Do you think you really truly going to argue before Yahweh and make your case? And he going to say, you know what? Oh, man, I was wrong. You know what? You were surely right. Because Yahweh is always right. Yahweh is always fair. So what he says goes. So who else are you going to serve but him? He is the great I am. He is the greatest Elohim of all. There is no one else. There's a saying that says, you don't know what you have until it's gone. You know, people, I'm going to go into relationships, marriages. How in marriages and relationships, even he said, I'm married unto you, Yisrael. But how we treat marriages in this time period right now, it just reflect on how it used to be back in the day, how people used to get married and stay together to the end. Now, in this day and time, marriage is like a joke. Marriage is like, it's just something to do. But it should be a bond between two people, because Yahweh placed two people together to be one. And it should be a bond. And see how we treat marriage in this lifetime. It's just nothing. I'll get married one day and the next day I get divorced. But that's how we treat Yahweh. We treat Yahweh like, this marriage between him and us is nothing. We can just do what we want to do in the marriage, and he'll continue to take us back. We can't treat Yahweh like a messed up marriage, Yisrael. We had to treat it as a marriage that is a bond. Didn't he make a covenant? Ain't that a bond between you and him? Didn't he say keep the Shabbat? Ain't that? Didn't he say that's like a sign between you and him? All these things that he tell you to do, he wants it to be of you, Yisrael. It ain't something that, okay, I gotta make you do it and you don't feel like doing it. It should be within you where you want to do it. It shouldn't be something that, oh, I had to make somebody do it, or I had to drag them to do it. No, if you say you are Yisrael, you should want to do this. If you look at the world now, it's few people out here that are good people that want to do Yahweh's will, that want to serve him and do everything he says. And if Yahweh placed in your life a person that is doing that and doing his will and keeping his ways, you got to cherish that. Because, okay, you messed that up. Okay, it ain't that many people to choose from now that is in the mindset that, you know what, I'm focused on doing Yahweh's will. And then you just pass that down. You messed that up. Who you going to pick now? When Yahweh gives you somebody, places somebody in your life that is like this, it said the virtuous woman. Somebody that is going to do Yahweh's will, do everything they need to do to please Yahweh and please even their mate, to help meet. That right there is a wonderful thing. That is a gift from Almighty Yahweh. And then when you see that bond, when you are totally glad with what Yahweh has done in your life, the place to help me in your life, then you can truly see how it is to serve Almighty Yahweh and see, you know what, that bond that Yahweh is done for me and my help me. I can see the bond now between me and Yahweh, how it should link together. You know how sometimes you married and your mate thinking the same thing you thinking, saying the same thing you saying. It's a bond, it's a link, Yisrael. So it's the same thing. That's what Yahweh said. You are married unto him. It's the same thing because we supposed to be linked to Yahweh. And when we link with Yahweh, we can be better off as a people to help one another, to be there for one another, to strive to keep a marriage together, to do all these things. But when we're not doing the will of Yahweh, guess what? Those things are not going to work out. Don't you see when you serve Yahweh, Israel, that life is that much better? So he can do that for you as long as you are sincere in doing his will. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah or Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 3. Jeremiah 3:1 says, they say, if a man divorces his wife and she goes from him and becomes another man's, may he return to her again? Will not that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the harlot with many lovers. Yet return to me, says Yahweh. Don't we do that, Israel? We all over the place. Especially in these last days, we don't stay focused. We don't stay with Almighty Yahweh. Say this, if Yahweh give you a place that is truly sincere in doing his will and serving him, and he shows you to that place, stay at that place. That's where Yahweh wants you to be. Stop going to, okay, I know he said this, I got to go somewhere else and gotta go over here, see what they saying. Oh, okay, I went there, now I gotta go over here. Ain't that gonna be confusion? And you see it. It's so much confusion in this earth right now because everybody want to want to go all over the place. Even that internet. The internet. The unclean thing. The net, ain't that a web? The World Wide Web. Ain't that a web unclean? See that? And everybody go on there, get information and think they right. Think everything on there is right. And then they just run with it without researching it. That's why people come up with all these different names to the Most High. Because, oh man, the internet says it's this. No, it says it's this. But go to the sources, the books, the old books, Yisrael, whose name is in it. We don't like researching. We just want to go, I just want to search the web and I just get all my information. Can't people change stuff on the internet, on the computer? So you think everything on there is truth. But Yahweh give us this. Yahweh give us this Torah so we can follow this. This is your roadmap to lead you to salvation. You don't need all the different stuff on the internet. Read the book. Yahweh give you this for a reason. And follow someone that is of Yahweh, doing his will, and follow them so they can teach you. Stop. Don't it say don't rely on your own understanding? See, we always, I know he said this, but nah, I got it right here. Nah, I say this. That ain't what it means. No. Yahweh said don't rely on your understanding. Because he put messengers out there, ministers out there for a reason. To teach, to prepare the people, to show the people how this is supposed to be done. And when we always thinking, it ain't them, I got it, I got this, we are in the wrong before Almighty Yahweh. So how you think we're going to make it if we always right and nobody can tell us anything? Yahweh said, yet return to me. Look, Yahweh is so merciful. He give you opportunity. He said all of sin and come short of the glory of Yahweh. He give everyone a chance to look at their errors, look at what they have done, and say, be truly sorrowful for what they have done, and come to him. Just examine yourself and see, okay, you know what, Yahweh, I've done wrong before you. Please forgive me. And Yahweh is so merciful. He's like, you are forgiven. Do my will. That's all he wants, Israel. Lift up your eyes to the desolate heights and see. Where have you not lain with men? By the road you have set for them like an Arabian in the wilderness, and you have polluted the land with your harlotries and your wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withheld, and there have been no latter rain. We see, and when we don't serve Yahweh right, the blessings that we want all the time, we want Yahweh to hook us up and give us the things that we need. Guess what? We don't get them because we're not doing his will. So that's why, why we always in misery? Why we had to go through this? Why are you complaining? It's because of you these things are happening. It's because of us all that we have sinned before Almighty Yahweh, our transgressions. That's why we had to go through these things. But Yahweh said, therefore the showers have been withheld, and there has been no latter rain. You have had a harlot's forehead. You refuse to be ashamed. You tell people nowadays something they done wrong, you think they ashamed of it? I mean, it should be a thing where if you in the wrong and somebody points it out to you, You should be very sorrowful before Almighty Yahweh and want to turn from it. You shouldn't want to keep doing it before, because Yahweh sees it. You shouldn't want to keep going on in your sins after somebody and showed you what you in error on. That make it worse, because then Yahweh gonna say you knew what you was doing, but you kept on. Will you not from this time cry to me, my Father? You are the God of my youth. Will he remain angry forever? Will he keep it to the end? Behold, you have spoken and done evil things as you were able. Keep going on. You know you wrong, you know you're in the wrong. Should be linked with Almighty Yahweh in such a way that you don't want to make him angry. Just like go back to a marriage. You should be linked in such a way you do not want to make your mate angry with you. You should want to please that person. Just like Almighty Yahweh, you should want to please Almighty Yahweh with all your heart, with all your soul. Put everything into this, Yisrael. But he says we play the harlot. We all over the place. We in this, we in that, we in all these different things. And Yahweh says, just follow this. Ain't this a way of life, Israel? This ain't the religion where all the religions of the world, they follow this God, they follow that God. This is a way of life where even when people in their own religions, they say they serve this, they say they serve that. But if you look at their lives, they don't even do what the book says. That's why Yahweh says this is a way of life. Walk it, do it the way he commands it. This ain't something that you gotta be a robot or somebody you gotta do it a certain way. Just like Elder says, there ain't no Hebrew way of walking. There ain't no Hebrew way of eating. No, this should be of you. So it's just be of you where you just do it in such a way like people look at you like, man, they do that so well. They look at you like, man, there's something different about you, because they know. We should be different, right, Yisrael? We should be separate. We shouldn't want to be of the world, fit in with the world, look like the world. We should look different before the whole world, because that's who you are. He said you are a peculiar treasure. We are trying to please Yahweh. No one else is going to give you salvation but him. That's why we serve Almighty Yahweh, Yisrael. That's why you should want his presence with you at all times. Wherever you are at in this world, you want Yahweh's presence with you. And that's why he supplies that Ruach HaKodesh. Those that want it, those that want to live like he says to live, he gives you that Ruach. Because in these last days, if you don't have that Ruach, you think you're going to make it through these last days? Let's go to Exodus chapter 33. And it don't even have to be in these up and coming days that are coming. If you don't have the Ruach right now, you ain't going to make it. The days of old, if they didn't have the Ruach, you think they made it? No, they had the Ruach of Yahweh. That's why Yahweh continued to guide them through whatever they had to go through back in the day. You think the Noah didn't have the Ruach? Yeah, he had the Ruach of Almighty Yahweh, because he did what Yahweh told him to do, just like all the messengers of old. Exodus 33, starting at verse 12. Then Moshe said to Yahweh, see, You say to me, bring up this people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now, therefore, I pray, if I have found favor in your sight, show me now your way, that I may know you and that I may find favor in your sight. And consider that this nation is your people. And he said, my presence will go with you and I will give you rest. See, that's what we want, Yisrael. We want rest. Ain't this the day of rest? But Yahweh will give you rest. He give you shalom wherever you are when you serving him. Your sleep will even be sweet because you are serving him. You ain't worried about, yeah, I know they said that the news said it's crime everywhere, it's shooting everywhere, people carjacking everywhere, and you ain't in your house like, oh man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. No, you can rest peacefully knowing that Yahweh is with you, right? I had like 50 locks on my door because I'm afraid what's going to happen. I don't want to come outside because I don't know what's going to happen. No, you can rest assured that Yahweh's presence is with you wherever you go in this earth. Then he says, give you rest somewhere else, Israel. Let me go to Matthew. Matthew chapter 11. Verse 28 says, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. See that? Are we all going through something in this earth? Trials, tribulations. Yahweh said, come to him. And he will supply you what you need. He will give you rest. He will give you shalom, Yisrael. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Easy. This way of life is easy, Israel. He ain't giving you something that's so hard. I got to figure out what this math problem is. Man, this is so hard. No, it is so easy because when you give yourself over to Almighty Yahweh, Yahweh will make it easy. He'll make the road smooth for you because his Ruach HaKodesh within you is guiding you to do right, to do everything that he has commanded you to do. But that right within us, we have to want it, Yisrael. Yahweh ain't going to make you do something you don't want. So we had to have a mindset to want this. Then when we have a mindset to want this, if first be a willing mind, then Yahweh will be there for you. Yahweh will look out for you. And Yahweh make your life so much better where you can see it. And nobody can tell you nothing against Almighty Yahweh because you see how Yahweh work in your life. And to the point, after a while, where you say to yourself, you know what? I ain't never leaving this way. Because I know this way is going to lead me to salvation. I ain't going to forfeit that for no one in this earth. Let's go back to Exodus 33. Verse 15 says, then he said to him, if your presence does not go with us, do not bring us up from here. See that? You need to look at Moshe. He's like, you know what? Wherever we go, we need you. See that? He ain't put it on himself, being proud, being big and bad, thinking, oh, you know what? I'm doing this myself. Like, no, wherever we go, we need Almighty Yahweh. He's like, nah, I ain't going nowhere without you. For how then will it be known that your people and I have found favor in your sight, except you go with us? So we should be separate, your people and I, from all the people who are upon the face of the earth. See that? Separate. See that? Look, you are different from the world, Yisrael. You shouldn't look like the world. You shouldn't be of the world. We in the world, but we shouldn't be of it. We should be of Almighty Yahweh and separate from the world to show Yahweh what it was it. We are loyal to Him. Because with Yahweh, what did it say? Friendship with the world, enmity to Yahweh. Does that mean Yahweh is pleased with it? Let's go get that. James chapter 4. James 4:4 says, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with Yahweh? But look at this. It says, whoever therefore wants to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of Yahweh. Do you want to be an enemy to Yahweh? Because oh man, you know what? Family said they was doing the cookout on the Shabbat. Man, they be throwing down. They be having some good food. Do you really want to look like an enemy before Yahweh? You know what, man, the holidays, man, I love Christmas, man. They got all the gifts and the lights and everything out there, man. Oh, man. Do you really want to look like an enemy to Yahweh? Yahweh give you your own days. Be separate, Yisrael. Be glad. Your own days where you can separate yourself from them and you ain't got to worry about them messing it up. Because when you serving Yahweh, doing His will, it's order. Yahweh does it in a certain manner where there's no frolicking, it ain't no foolishness going on. It is of Yahweh and it goes so smooth and perfect. That's how it should go. So, yeah, we don't want to be friendship with the world, friends with the world. Well, you know what, man? And then we don't want to play Yahweh. And, when I'm here, but then I go out there with them. I'm here, and then I go out there with them. You want to play before Almighty Yahweh. You want to be serious about this because Yahweh see it all. You could hide before man, and man don't see it. But the one you truly want to please, He sees it all. So we can't play with Almighty Yahweh. Let's go back to Exodus. Verse 17. So Yahweh said to Moshe, I will also do this thing that you have spoken, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name. We want to get in such a relationship with Almighty Yahweh that when we cry out to Him, we ask Him for something, He already answered it before we finished. Have you ever done something like that, Yisrael? You cry out to Yahweh for something, and then Yahweh had done it just like that? And then we can't look at it like, okay, Yahweh, I want it like that all the time. No, because Yahweh does want us to be patient for some things. He wants us to wait and see a thing. See if we see a thing right so we can learn from the lesson. And He said, please show me your kabod. Then He said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before you. The name of Yahweh. He has a name. All this thing the people see always say, if you see the whole world doing a particular thing, you got to question it. You got to question it. Okay, you going along with it. The whole world, they saying God, Lord, Jesus. Whole world. See, and you don't question it. You don't. He says he has a name, Yisrael. So we say Yahweh is a God. Then we saying he on the same level as all the gods in the nations. But we know that Yahweh is not a God. Like it says in Psalms 96:5. It says all the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh made the heavens. He is above all. And don't it say even that my people shall know my name? So he does have a name. I will proclaim the name of Yahweh before you. I will be merciful to whom I will be merciful, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So this ain't something that's, oh, it's just a given. Yeah, we're going to do these things for us, and that's it. We ain't got to do nothing. No, you had to do some work, Yisrael. You had to serve Yahweh, do his will. Because Yahweh going to be merciful to who he want to be merciful. So just because you going through something and you think, oh, Yahweh need to bring me up out of this, Yahweh, that's on him. If he want to do it, he gonna do it. If he don't want to do it because you haven't done his will, you've been cutting up and doing your own will, and you crying out to him, if he turn his back and don't hear you, that's on Yahweh. Yahweh has the final say, don't he? We as a people think, oh man, you know what? I'm on the same wavelength as Yahweh. So whatever I say goes. No, it ain't. When you do his will and do what he says, then Yahweh will look over you and say, you know what? You are tough before me, I will answer you. But if we doing all this other stuff and not obeying him, he don't have to do nothing, Yisrael. But he said, you cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live. So Moshe shows you right here how we all, when we living in this way of life and we living in this earth, we all need his presence. So who you want to be loyal to, Israel? You're going to be loyal to the man. You're going to be loyal to the governments, everything that is above you ruling right now, or you're going to be loyal to Almighty Yahweh. Yahweh ain't going to let you down. So it ain't even a choice, Israel. Yahweh, he made all things. He is all powerful. He does whatever he chooses. So serving him shouldn't even be a choice. Oh man, you know what? I should do that. No, you shouldn't. You should stay in that straight and narrow path that leads to salvation. Let's go to Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy chapter 33. I'm going to start at verse 26. There is no one like the Elohim of Yeshurun, who rides the heavens to help you, and in his excellency on the clouds. Ain't no one like Yahweh, right, Yisrael? And if you don't know, get to know. Because when you know Almighty Yahweh, you know that ain't nobody better. The eternal Elohim is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. He will thrust out the enemy from before you and will say, destroy. Thrust out, huh? I'm ready for them to get thrown out. I'm ready for them to be, I don't have no words, demolished, destroyed, whatever Yahweh has for them. So it can be shalom on this earth. You know that's why there's no shalom on this earth, because of them. All they know is destroying. All they know is killing. That's all they do. When has this earth had any shalom? Go get this. He says thrust out somewhere else also. Let's go to the book of Luke. It's Luke chapter 13, verse 28. See, people don't want to see stuff like this, but somebody is going to the burning lake of fire because everybody don't want to do Yahweh's will. Yahweh know that. So that's why he said it's going to be a faithful few. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, when you doing, let's put it in the man sense. When you doing a job, Yisrael, don't you want somebody with you that you know is reliable, that you know is going to get the job done? Don't you think Yahweh want the same thing? Oh, you know what? Those that are with me, I want them to have a mind that want to do my will. I want them to be serious about this and get it right. Yahweh don't want any and everybody. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and all the prophets in the kingdom of Yahweh, and you yourselves thrust out. You get to see, man, it look nice in there, man. But you get thrown into darkness because you didn't want to do Yahweh's will. And now it's too late. You can't go to Yahweh and say, you know what, man, it look tough in there. I want to be in there. It's too late. We had to do this thing right now so we can make it in. Yeah. Yahweh not accepting everybody. They will come from the east and the west, from the north and the south, and sit down in the kingdom of Yahweh. Ain't that what you want to do, Yisrael? And indeed, there are those last who will be first, and there are first who will be last. And I like that because, you know, Yisrael is last, the tail. And Yahweh is going to make Yisrael first in the kingdom to come. That's why we shouldn't want, oh, I want all this stuff now. No, you're going to get your stuff. Yahweh got you. You just have to wait for it. Some things are good when you wait for it, right, Israel? Like we as a people, we want stuff. Oh, man, I want my stuff now. Give it to me. We have to pay for our transgressions first, Israel. Then Yahweh will say, okay, now's the time. Now he will turn the kingdom over and you be able to walk into what you waited for all that time. You strive to get this thing right. You did the will of Yahweh this whole time. Now you get your reward. And at that time, you ain't gonna be like, you know what, man? I wanted that stuff back then, what they had in the world. No, at that time period, you can be like, man, I'm so glad that I waited, that I was so patient to get this. And he said he's gonna wipe away all tears. You don't think you'd be glad? You don't think you'd be singing for joy just because you made it in. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 33:28 says, then Yisrael shall dwell in safety. You want that? The fountain of Jacob alone, in a land of grain and new wine. His heaven shall also drop dew. Happy are you, O Yisrael, who is like you, a people saved by Yahweh. See that? Yahweh said you are the apple of his eyes. Do you realize how you look before Almighty Yahweh when you're doing his will? Like, wow, man, these people right here, these are my children. I'm going to take care of them. So who is like Yisrael when you doing his will? Because whatever going on this earth, you know Yahweh is there. Whatever coming down the line in these last days, you know Yahweh is there. He ain't there for the world. He ain't there for the evil and wicked men. He's there for Yisrael. Who is like you, a people saved by Yahweh, the shield of your help and the sword of your majesty. Your enemies shall submit to you, and you shall tread down their high places. Your enemies shall submit to you. That they had to come to you, bowing. They had to serve you, Yisrael. Is that what it's talking about? Do they have to learn this way? Who they gonna have to learn it through? Yisrael. So that's why we had to get this thing right now. So when Yahweh have you in the kingdom to come, you'll be equipped to be able to teach the nations. So we can't just play around and get it right when we feel like it. No, we have to be serious about this thing because guess what? When we taking the test, we at somewhere, a job or school or whatever, when we taking the test, guess what? You had to get the passing score. You had to get it right in order to move on, to pass. Same thing with Almighty Yahweh. We have to pass this test that Yahweh is placed before us to show that we are loyal to him so we can make it in. Because if we fail the test, we're not going to make it. You think we're going to make it in and we shucking and jiving, we failing at keeping his commandments, keeping his Shabbats, his feast days? You think we're going to make it in because we think we got it already? We understand it already? We're not. And we're going to be sadly mistaken before Almighty Yahweh when he show us the error of our ways. Then we're going to be so shameful, but then too late. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. Let's go to 1 Chronicles. First Chronicles chapter 29. Another one, Dawid. Another one that shows us all that we have nothing without Yahweh. He shows us everything that we have, everything that we are supplied with is from Yahweh. So we can't say, yeah, we get all proud and bold, thinking we've gained all these things in the earth and thinking we are all that. We have to see that Yahweh has done all these things for us. So 1 Chronicles 29, verse 10. Therefore, Dawid Baruch Yahweh before all the assembly. And Dawid said, Baruch are you, Yahweh, Elohim of Yisrael, our Abba, forever and ever. Yours, O Yahweh, is the greatness, the power and the kabod, the victory and the majesty. For all that is in the heaven and in the earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Yahweh, and you are exalted as head over all. Both riches and honor come from you, and you reign over all. See, whatever you have, Yisrael, guess what? Came from Almighty Yahweh. Don't ever look at yourselves and think, you know what, I did all this. Look what I got. Because that's what the rich saying. All the stuff that they have, they hoarding. You know they like, yeah, look at what I done, the power that I have. I done collected all these things. But Yahweh got something for them. Now, therefore, Abba, we told you and praise your Kodesh name. But who am I and who are my people that we should be able to offer so willingly as this? For all things come from you, and of your own we have given you. For we are strangers and pilgrims before you, as were all our fathers. Our days on earth are as a shadow and without hope. O Yahweh Abba, all this abundance that we have prepared to build you a house for your Kodesh name is from your hand and is all your own. I know also, my Elohim, that you test the heart and have the pleasure in uprightness. See that test, the test that Yahweh placed before each and every one of us to show us, to see if we are loyal to him. We all gonna be tested in these last days. Best believe in these up and coming days, we're gonna see truly who is with Yahweh and who truly is not. As for me, in the uprightness of my heart, I have willingly offered all these things. And now with joy I have seen your people who are present here to offer willingly to you. O Yahweh, Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Yisrael, our fathers, keep this forever in the intent of the thoughts of the hearts of your people, and fix their hearts towards you. And give my son Shalom a loyal heart to keep your commandments and your testimonies and your statutes, to do all these things and to build the temple for which I have made provision. See, that's when everything start going so well in Yisrael, when Yisrael is so willing to give, Yisrael is so willing to harbor one another. You begin to see how Yahweh works. Everyone had their different gifts. They combine them together and see how we all can live as one before Almighty Yahweh. And that's what Yahweh is looking for, us all to be of one like mind, to do his will and to serve each other, because we are all we have in this earth. And when the times get so hard in this earth, guess what? We're going to need each other, Yisrael. And Yahweh did this for a specific reason. It gives each and every one of you all different gifts. He don't give everybody the same gift, right? It gives everybody something different so everybody can come together and benefit and survive and make it. Ain't that tough of Yahweh? Do you ever look at yourself and say, wow, I told you, Yahweh, you giving me this to be able to do with my hands. And you don't have to be jealous of what somebody else's gift is. You just so happy that Yahweh is giving you your gift. See, a lot of people, they look at other people, they can do different things, they jealous. No, look at yourself and be happy with Yahweh giving you. Because you right now, you blinded, don't even know your gift because you so focused on somebody else's gift. You want to do what they doing. But Yahweh give you something very important that if you work in your gift, it will be so beneficial in Yisrael. Then Dawid said to all the assembly, now Baruch Yahweh your Elohim. So all the assembly Baruch Yahweh Elohim of their fathers, and bowed their heads and prostrated themselves before Yahweh and the king. Ain't that beautiful, Yisrael? And then that message and that within that, don't it show that all the things that we have belongs to Yahweh? Because what we have, can it be taken away just like that? So we can't be greedy and think, okay, I'm gonna have this stuff forever and ever. Sometimes you might have, sometimes you may not have, but you still have to serve Yahweh. You still have to give him all the praise, all the honor, and the kabod. Because guess what? Yahweh is still with you. If you have a lot or if you have a little, he is still. Look at Eob. Keep going back to Eob. Look at what he went through. Didn't he have a lot? And he shared his goods. But that one day when it was all taken away, just like that, did he falter and just say, you know what, Yahweh, give up, man. I'm not serving you anymore. No, he held on to his integrity because he knew Yahweh. Let's go to Psalms. Psalms 26. David again. Vindicate me, O Yahweh, for I have walked in my integrity. I have also trusted in Yahweh. I shall not slip. Examine me, O Yahweh, and prove me. Try my mind and my heart. See that? Ain't that we telling Yahweh, you know what? I'm walking right before you. Test me, examine me, and see that I am true before you. You ain't gonna get a lot of people who go to Yahweh. You know what? Test me. You know, I know I'm right. No, you ain't gonna get a lot of people. Because you know what, with sin, people can act like they don't know what they doing, but in actuality, people know what they doing. Because you might get away with it with man and man not see it. Yahweh sees it all. We know exactly what we doing, but we want to continue to go along with it to think, okay, nobody sees it. For your loving kindness is before my eyes, and I have walked in your truth. I have not sat with idolatrous people, nor will I go with hypocrites. I have hated the assembly of evildoers and will not sit with the wicked. See, they don't even want to have no parts with people that are not serving Yahweh. They doing their own thing, just doing wicked and evil things. You know what? Don't you want to be around people that is of like mind, that want to do Yahweh's will? Because if you around people that's not doing his will and just doing all types of foolishness, guess what? They're going to suck you right into it. Or they're going to try to. That's why you should associate yourself with people that are like mine. I will wash my hands in innocence. So I will go about your altar, O Yahweh, that I may proclaim with the voice of thanksgiving and tell of your wonderful works. Yahweh, I have loved the habitation of your house and the place where your kabod dwells. Do not gather my soul with sinners, nor my life with bloodthirsty men, in whose hands is a sinister scheme, and whose right hand is full of bribes. See that? Please don't associate me with them. Please look at me as somebody that is Kodesh before you, somebody that wants to dwell with you in your kingdom. But as for me, I will walk in my integrity. Yisrael, hold on to your integrity no matter what happens in this earth. Redeem me and be merciful to me. My foot stands in an even place. In the congregations, I will Baruch Yahweh. See that he showed you, you know what? Got to walk up right before Yahweh. Got to be right before him so he will accept you. Walking any kind of way, Yahweh ain't going to accept us. When we walk in right before him, he will accept us. Hold on to your integrity, what you believe in, Yisrael, because in these last days, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to try to get you to sway from what you believe in. Says there's going to be many, many false prophets, right? That means it's going to be people that want to get you off the path. Don't Shaitan want to do that? There's people out here that don't care. They just want your soul to be lost. So they going to be focused on getting you off the path. But if you know Yahweh, you doing his will, you focused on obeying him, all those things shouldn't even faze you, Israel. You should stand tall and do his will. Let's go to Deuteronomy again. Deuteronomy chapter 13. Yahweh tests us all, right? Deuteronomy 13:1. If there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder comes to pass, of which he spoke to you, saying, let us go to gods of the nations which you have not known, and let us serve them. You shall not listen to the words of that prophet or dreamer of dreams. If somebody come up to you, tell you otherwise what's in this Torah, Israel, don't listen to it. Don't even give it a thought, because then all of a sudden that thought come in your mind, then all of a sudden you thinking about it, and then all of a sudden the thoughts going to, oh, you know what, that sounds like it's right. Shaitan. But look what Yahweh says. He says, you should not listen to the words of the prophet, dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh your Elohim is testing you to know whether you are YAHWEH, Yahweh your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul. Because when you love, you are having him with all you have, nobody gonna be able to take you off the path. If they don't speak according to the words in this book, guess what it says? There's no light in them. You shall walk after Yahweh your Elohim and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice. Because who speaks first? Don't Yahweh speak first? Then who come? They come the devil. Oh, you know what? I know he said that, but nah, it ain't what he meant. It mean this. Listen to that first voice. That's Yahweh. You ever been in a situation where you did a thing and it was second guessing, like, you know what? I think it's this. Then it was the one that you were supposed to pick. Like, man, I should have listened to my first instinct. That was Yahweh. Listen to this. But that prophet or that dreamer of dreams should be put to death, because he has spoken in order to turn you away from Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you from the house of bondage, to entice you from the way in which Yahweh your Elohim commanded you to walk. So if Yahweh tells you to do a thing this way, don't let somebody come behind and say, no, it's actually over there. No, go with what Yahweh says first and stick with it. Yahweh don't change, do he? And he can't lie, right? So go with what Yahweh says. So you should put away the evil from your midst. So a lot of times Yahweh said, put those things to death, kill all that, different nations, because that sin, that evil, what is it going to do? It's going to spread. And Yahweh said, nah, it has to go. That's why he got mad at King Shaul. Because did he go along with what Yahweh told him to do? No, he didn't. And then brought back the king. He said, get rid of everything. But no, see, that second voice got in his mind saying, you know what? Nah, we should keep the livestock. We should do this and that, bring back the king. But that ain't what Yahweh told you to do. See, when we don't listen to the first voice, we get in trouble. Just like Mr. Dawid said earlier, you hear things, some people they go in one ear, but then go back out that same ear. It don't go through one ear and come out the other. No, it go one ear and go back the first ear. We don't even want to hear things. But we better want to hear the voice of Almighty Yahweh, or we're gonna get ourselves in tremendous trouble. Let's go to Revelations, because we have to pick a side, Yisrael. We have to be loyal to Almighty Yahweh. We can't be, okay, you know what, I'm here with Yahweh now, but you know what, I'm going to be over here this day. You know what, this day I'm here. You think Yahweh like that plan? Revelations chapter 3. I'm starting at verse 15. I know your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. I could wish you were cold or hot. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, meaning, okay, you want to take both sides, right? Don't Shaitan do that. Shaitan, oh, you know what? Yeah, this is this, but it's this over here. See that? We thinking, okay, I'm gonna please Yahweh and I'm gonna please the world. Yahweh said, pick a side. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew you out of my mouth. See that? Yahweh, something, they just think it's something that you eating and it was just so nasty that you keep eating it and swallowing it. Like, man, you know what? This is nasty, but no, you spit it out, right? Because you can't bear the taste of it. Yahweh, the same thing. Whatever wickedness and evil that people are doing and just want to be here, there, just lukewarm. Yahweh don't like it either. It's like a stench in his nostrils. So we had to do a thing, like he said, wholeheartedly, not half. Because sometimes we deceive ourselves thinking, God, I'm doing some of it, and Yahweh should be pleased with it. No, Yahweh pleased when we do the whole. We can't take half the book, right? You know how some people are just the Old Testament. Some people are just the New Testament. Some people just take bits and pieces of the Torah. You had to take the whole Torah into consideration if you want to be saved. Let's go to 2 Corinthians. Second Corinthians 13. Verse 5 says, examine yourselves as to whether you are in the faith. That's very important, Yisrael, that we look at ourselves each and every day as we walk this way of life and examine ourselves and see, are we doing the will of Yahweh? Very important. Because the world can take our focus away sometimes from Almighty Yahweh, because we so much into this going on, that going on, this and on. But we have to continue to look at ourselves and say, you know what, this day, did I do tub before Almighty Yahweh? This day, did I do Yahweh's will? Test yourselves. Do you not know yourselves that Yahshua HaMashiach is in you, unless indeed you are disqualified? or failed the test. But I trust that you will know that we have not been disqualified or have not failed the test. See that? Trust. We have to pray that we pass this test, to be able to be in the faith and do Yahweh's will and be able to make Yahweh pleased with us. We had to make sure we doing that before Yahweh. Because if we not making sure, we just doing whatever, we not pleasing him at all and we failing. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. I didn't like tests when I had to take tests in school and all that other stuff, but guess what? After a while, you had to look at it for, you know what? I had to study, I had to know this stuff in order to go beyond, to get ahead, right? You couldn't keep failing it and thinking, you know what, one of these days they just gonna let me go through, even though they do that in schools now. They let the children just fail and just pass them to the next grade. But that ain't gonna work before Yahweh. Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Walk prudently when you go to the house of Yahweh, and draw nigh to hear rather than to give the sacrifice of fools. Uh-oh. This gonna get a lot of people, but you know how we are. What's the sacrifice of food? Multitude of words, right? Always talking. But he says, when you come to the house of Yahweh, be ready to hear, right, Yisrael? Rather than to give the sacrifice of fools. Because he said a fool is known by the multitude of words, right? For they do not know that they do evil. All the talking. If we don't all the talking, we might miss something that is truly vital for us down the road. So that's why he said Shema, Yisrael. Wasn't that the first command that he gave Yisrael? Shema, hear, O Yisrael. That's how we learn, when we hear the word of Yahweh, not when we talking and keep talking over the messenger. No, it's when we hear, we study, we get it in, we absorb it. Do not be rash with your words or with your mouth, and let not your heart utter anything hastily before Yahweh. See, a lot of times people just anything that come out their mouth, they just let it come out. Don't think about it. Just anything that come to mind, they just blurt it out. But we should be a person that think about something before we say it, before Almighty Yahweh. For Yahweh is in the Hashemayim and you on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Repeat that again. For Yahweh is in the Hashemayim and you on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. That means everything you got on your mind, you don't have to blab it out all the time. Anything that you speak before Almighty Yahweh should be something that's well thought. So it'll be tough that's coming out your mouth. Not all the garbage, all the foolishness, something that is tough before Almighty Yahweh. For a dream comes through much activity, and the fool's voice is known by his many words. When you make a vow to Yahweh, do not delay to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you have vowed. Better not to vow than to vow and not pay. See that when you say something before that's why he said, let your words be few now. You blurting out stuff, but when you say, don't it go straight to Yahweh's ear? And you vow, you say you're gonna do something. Don't allow people say, you know what, Yahweh, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna do everything you say if you get me up out of this. They going through something, Yahweh, please, if you get me up out of this, I do everything that you say. Oh, one better. Didn't Yisrael say everything that Yahweh said we will do? And then what happened? So when you say something, you better be real with it. You can't take it back after it come out your mouth. Like, no, come back. Yeah, I ain't mean to say that. Nope. When it come out, it's out. And Yahweh has heard it. Do not let your mouth cause your flesh to sin, nor say before the messenger of Yahweh that it was an error. Why should Yahweh be angry at your excuse and destroy the works of your hand? For in the multitude of dreams and many words there is also vanity, but fear Yahweh. See that, Yisrael? We have to be real before Almighty Yahweh. When we serving Yahweh, this ain't the church. The church is of the world. That's why they get away with any and everything. They can do any and everything. But when you come to the bed of Yah and Yahweh open your eyes to serve him, Yahweh wants order in his house. Any and everything, you ain't gonna be flying. No, it's gonna be order in his house. And that's what a lot of people they don't like order. They want to do a thing the way they want to do it. Well, this ain't the place. So this is what Yahweh says. This ain't me. This is what Yahweh says. So if you want to make it salvation, if you want that, you better do what Yahweh says. This is going to save you, Israel. Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Verse 24, 224 says, nothing is better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that his soul should enjoy the toil and his labor. And it's so pleasing, just, the little things Yahweh giving you. You had to work, you get to come home and relax, you get to enjoy life. Ain't that tough, Israel? This also I saw was from the hand of Yahweh. For who can eat or who can have enjoyment more than I? For Yahweh gives wisdom and knowledge and joy to a man who is tub in his sight. See, he'll give all these things to you as long as you are walking upright before him. You're doing his will. But goes in another direction. To the center, he gives the work of gathering and collecting, that he may give to him who is tough before Yahweh. So all these people on the earth right now that's gathering all these goods and just hoarding the gold, silver, all these things in the earth, that's saying that they had to give it up. And Israel, that's why earlier saying, don't want this stuff now. Yahweh is going to supply you. Who you think holding your stuff? And look, they thinking they doing this on their own, but they going right along with Yahweh's plan. So Yahweh's like, yeah, look, y'all happy now, y'all living it up now, but wait till it's taken away. My people are going to enjoy that now. See that, Yisrael? That's why we shouldn't. Oh man, I want this stuff now. Now, come on, man. I see this stuff on TV. They living it up. They got the islands and all. No, wait, Yisrael. Because when you receive it, then you're gonna be like, oh wow, I'm glad I waited for this. This is awesome. But it says this also is vanity and grasping for the wind. See, it talks about all through Ecclesiastes how all these things we put all our energy in this earth to please our flesh, all vanity and grasping at the air. See, we should just be focused on just knowing Yahweh and be glad of what the things that He has given us, supplied us with. You shouldn't have a mind just like the world is, man, I want everything. I want all this. I want all these cars, houses. No, you should be glad of what you have. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians. I'll soon be done. Yeah, don't let the world, that spirit cling on to you, Yisrael. No, let that ruach of Yahweh cling on to you, where you see people that have all these things, houses, cars, don't even bother you. Because you know your riches are waiting for you at the end. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 3 says, we are bound to total Yahweh always for you, brethren, as it is fitting, because your faith grows exceedingly, and the YAHWEH of every one of you all abounds towards each other, so that we ourselves boast of you among the assemblies of Yahweh for your patience and faith in all your persecutions and tribulations that you endure. See that's how it's supposed to be. We spoke about it earlier, how if we come together as one, how loving however goes around each and every one of us. We always have a one like mind to serve Yahweh. Even though we going through trial, tribulation, each and every one of us, we still are focused on the goal, right, Yisrael? Which is manifest evidence of the righteous judgment of Yahweh, that you may be counted worthy of the kingdom of Yahweh, for which you also suffer, since it is a righteous thing with Yahweh to repay with tribulation those who trouble you, and to give you who are troubled rest. There go that word again. With us when Yahshua Mashiach is revealed from the Hashemayim with his mighty Malakim in flaming fire, taking vengeance on those who do not know Yahweh. Aren't you glad you know him? And on those who do not obey the glad tidings of Yahshua Mashiach. These shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of Yahweh Shua and from the kabod of his power, when he comes in that day to be glorified in his Kedushim and to be admired among all those who believe, because our testimony among you was believed. Therefore, we also pray always for you, that our Abba will count you worthy of this calling. Don't they talk about it? I believe 2 Peter, he said, make sure your calling and election is sure, and fulfill all the tough pleasures of his goodness and the work of faith with power, that the name of Yahshua HaMashiach may be glorified in you and you in him, according to the unmerited favor of Abba and Yahshua HaMashiach. See, nothing greater than serving Almighty Yahweh. He keeps showing us, you know what? I know you're going to struggle. I know you're going to go through different trials and tribulations, but he keeps showing us there's light at the end of that tunnel, Yisrael. And the time is drawing to a close. It's almost over. All we had to do is continue to hold on, do Yahweh's will, trust in him to the very end, and you will receive your reward. Let's go to my closing scripture. This is Philippians. Philippians chapter 3. Philippians 3:12 says, now that I have already, not that I have already attained or am already perfected, but I press on that I may lay hold of that for which Yahshua HaMashiach has also laid hold of me. Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. See that? All this stuff behind you, forgetting about all your people that you used to hang out with, all the sins that you used to do back in the day, forgetting about all that baggage and pressing on forward ahead with Almighty Yahweh. That's what we should be doing. So I press towards the goal for the prize of the upward call of Yahweh and Yahshua HaMashiach. Therefore, let us, as many as are mature, have this mind. And if anything you think otherwise, Yahweh will reveal even this to you. Said, don't it talk about let this mind be in you, which is also in Yahshua? It's in the same book. He says, have that mind, be mature. See, that's when you know what you have done in your past, you repent of your sins and come to Almighty Yahweh correctly. That's when you become mature. But when you're not mature, if you still playing and you old and you still doing wrong before Almighty Yahweh, you still not mature. Even though you are older, you still are behaving like a child. Nevertheless, verse 16, nevertheless, to the degree that we have already attained, let us walk by the same rule. Let us be of the same mind. Hallelujah. Stop it right there. Let us be of the same mind. Let this mind be in you, which is also in Yahshua, chapter 2, verse 5. So that's what we all must be like before Almighty Yahweh. That same mind that Yahshua HaMashiach had, we want that. Because didn't he do the will of Yahweh? He was perfection walking the face of this earth. So he is the prime example to show us how to live. So, Yisrael, where does your loyalty lie? It should be with Almighty Yahweh, because he has provided us with everything we need in order to make it, to receive that gift, the salvation. Nothing else in this earth has that but Yahweh. So let us continue to serve Yahweh and, of course, his son, Yahshua HaMashiach, and continue to press forward to that goal of salvation. Hallelujah. At this time that ends this message, I ask that we all stand as we go into prayer. Abba Yahweh, we're just so glad that you are here with us all. Your presence always continue to be with us throughout our lives. Never leave us. Never let your Ruach go from us. Continue to have your Ruach dwell within us and to guide us, to be able to prepare us for things that are to come. And have it so that we are always focused on heavenly things, focused on you, and know that just because what we have might not be that much right now, that you will supply us with plenty in the kingdom to come. YAHWEH, continue to look over Yisrael, keep us safe and sound. Give us rest that we need. Continue to heal our vessels. Continue to give us a sound mind to do your will. And at the end of our days, have it so that we have walked this way of life in such a way that you are very pleased with us. And we be able to hear your voice say, well done, my tough and faithful servants. In Yahshua HaMashiach's name we pray. Hallelujah.